Hey guys, welcome to the Bay Area Sports Addiction. This is Alex, and today I'm going to go over our recap for November 27th. Today in the Bay, we had a triple header for the Dubs, the 49ers, and the Sharks. I'll go ahead and get right into it with the Golden State Warriors having a 137 to 114 win over the Minnesota Timberwolves. The 49ers had a 13-0 win over the New Orleans Saints, and the San Jose Sharks lost 4-3 in overtime to the Vancouver Canucks. All right, let's kick it off with the Dubs. The Golden State Warriors are 8-3 over their last 11 games, which is amazing considering their 3-7 start. This moves the team back over 500 at 11-10. Clay over his last 5 games, has shot 56% from three. He shot 62.5% from three today, which is awesome. And I think some of the people in the sports media need to give Clay an apology. He just needed some time to get his legs back underneath him, which I think as the season is starting to roll on, we're now 21 games in. I think he's going to be able to keep this shooting streak going throughout the rest of the season. In other news with the Warriors, their younger guys, Wiseman, a little bit of Moody, Pat Baldwin, and other draft picks from this year have all been sent down to the G League Warriors, the Santa Cruz Warriors, to get some playing time, which I think is going to be good for everyone involved. You know, the flaw with our young guys, at least this season, has been they don't know the defensive schemes as well as the veterans, which has in part contributed to the Dubs' defensive woes so far this season. And you can see with these past couple games, as the Warriors have started to pick it up, it's been a lot more of the veterans playing, a little bit more of Dante DiVincenzo, a little bit more of Jermichael Green. They both stepped up and played really well over the last 10, 11 games. And I like what Steve Kerr's been doing with his adjustments. He has started to sprinkle in the starters with a lot of the different bench unit combinations. This has obviously helped the defense, and it also helps keeping a ball handler that knows how to run the offense in there as well. So we're not getting any static possessions on offense. Those are usually momentum killers for us. I like Kerr's ability to mix in a zone defense here and there, especially against teams that aren't historically known for their shooting ability. Some teams just get hot against the Warriors. That's what happens. A lot of teams play up when they play the champs. But I think that his ability to put us in a zone and it will throw the other team's offense out of sync. I think that's been key to our run as well. One thing that has been a problem that I think Kerr is starting to figure out how to adjust has been the spacing when certain guys are on the floor. Jermichael Green, Jonathan Kuminga, teams are starting to realize, these guys aren't the best three-point shooters in the game, so they aren't closing out as hard as they do on like a Poole, a Curry, a Clay. And so what we kind of need those guys to do is to cut on drives where other guys are driving to the basket. You need them to cut backdoor because their defensive, their man that's covering them is just going to collapse in. The next point that I think we need to work on to keep the streak going, I know we did a lot of it today against Gobert and Cat, was gang rebound. I believe there's one possession where Kuminga boxed out Gobert for an extra like 2 seconds for Jordan Poole to get the ball, go down the court, and Jordan Poole just bodies up Gobert on a layup that was a huge momentum play for the Warriors this game. The Warriors were already up, but the lead was starting to come down, and then with all the bench guys in, seeing this big play kind of boosted the morale of everyone on the team. Next in my notes, I guess also playing off that gang rebounding point that I just made, the Warriors love getting out in transition, but our issue, at least so far this season, has been that guys aren't rebounding. They're just running out on transition, or they're bird watching. They're standing around expecting someone else to get a rebound. And this has led to our opponents getting second chances. And when guys leak out on rebounds that we don't have secured yet, it leads to players being open on the other team, open shots, and everyone has seemed to make those against the Warriors this year. Another key, I think, to our run has been Poole. If he can get into the mode where he was in the playoffs last year, I think we're going to be just fine. He's struggled. He's been hot and cold this season. And I think a little bit of it is that other teams are starting to key in on him as one of our key offensive weapons. He's usually the first or second guy off the bench and comes in when Clay is out, and he's like an automatic threat as a straight line driver and a three-point shooter. So teams are either, most of the time, they're hard closing out on him, and he's being maybe a little bit too timid, whereas last year and during the playoffs last year especially, he was just pulling that shot every time, and it was making it because he's a good shooter. I think this year he's hesitating a little bit, maybe moving, passing the ball, trying to come around for another screen, but guys are getting up into him, which I think creates a bigger opportunity for Jordan Poole to have these straight line drives. And like he did today, like I said before, when he bodied up Rudy Gobert, and he has an incredible layup package, which I think everyone can appreciate. Moving on to the next topic, the San Francisco 49ers defeat the New Orleans Saints 13-0. And what can I say? Just a defensive clinic put on by the 49ers. D'Amico Ryans with the defensive calls. Fred Warner, Talanoa Hufanga, Dre Greenlaw, Nick Bosa, Jimmy Ward, Mooney Ward, great tackler on the outside. Tashawn Gibson had a great game. And these guys had this awesome game against a very versatile rushing and passing attack in the Saints. They do a lot of plays where they bring in Taysom Hill as their quarterback. Alvin Kamara is super versatile out of the backfield, both as a rusher and a pass catcher. And the Niners did a really good job of exploiting his propensity to fumble the ball, Alvin Kamara's. And this was a huge win for the Niners, especially in a short week. Probably like a letdown game in reality, after playing Monday Night Football and in Mexico City. The Niners come back with Thanksgiving in there, people trying to see their families, and the win streak gets extended to 4 games. So that's absolutely awesome. During this 4-game win streak, Jimmy Garoppolo, no interceptions, which, there was a pretty weak penalty, in my opinion, that saved an interception that Jimmy threw today, but that's besides the point. We also have no points allowed in the second half of each of the last 4 games, including 6 straight quarters because of our shutout today. Just absolutely amazing by D'Amico Ryans and this defense. Moving on, the Niners had a little bit of a struggle rushing today. Elijah Mitchell went down with his MCL injury again, which is not great. Apparently, it wasn't as bad as the first time he hurt it this year, but we will have to see on that. Looks like Christian McCaffrey might be getting some more touches. I know we saw a little bit of Jordan Mason as well. Christian McCaffrey is actually on the sideline working something out, trying to loosen something in his lower body up, it looked like. Also, Spencer Burford left the game with an ankle injury, I believe, and the O-line kind of got beat on a few plays. We weren't getting a lot of push in between the tackles. There's a couple runs that I believe Mason and Christian McCaffrey may have broken, but yeah, the O-line was not as good in the run game today as they have been. But on the contrary, the passing protection was pretty good at times. I think there were a few penalties as the game went on, but for the most part, the pass protection was pretty decent. Jimmy Garoppolo even had a career high of 27 pass attempts in the first half, which, I mean, at this point, it makes sense with all the playmakers the 49ers have that are pass catchers, and just needing to spread the ball around is definitely going to be a priority moving forward this season with all of the amazing playmakers we have. Looking forward to next week. The 49ers play the Miami Dolphins at 1 p.m. on Sunday here at home. Look, it's going to be a big game. We're obviously playing guys that are coming back into San Francisco for the first time since leaving the team. So that would be like head coach Mike McDaniel, Jeff Wilson, who was traded to Miami this year after the Niners traded for Christian McCaffrey. He actually asked out. Raheem Mostert as well, Trent Sherfield. All those guys have been playmakers for Miami this year. But I think the keys to this game are going to be getting to Tua, forcing bad throws, and then capitalizing. Our defense has been very stout over the past 4 games during our win streak, but we are going to be playing 2 of the top offensive weapons in the NFL in Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. This game could be a huge win because we have a stretch of games coming up against the Miami Dolphins, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Seattle Seahawks, and then the Washington Commanders, which are all going to be fairly tough games, and they could, if we make it through all of these, go 3-1, maybe 4-0 even. That would be huge. 3-1 would put the 49ers at 10-5, and 4-0 would put us at 11-4, which would just be incredible, at least standings wise. And finally, our last game of the night, the San Jose Sharks lose to the Vancouver Canucks 4-3 in overtime. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? That the Sharks team is not one of the juggernauts we've seen in the past, and regular season juggernauts at least. I did like what I was seeing from the Sharks from a strategy standpoint. I mean, the Sharks have always been big on getting pucks to the net from the point, getting traffic in front of the net. I know Luke Cunnin had 2 goals. His first one it tipped off a couple, like a stick, and then it hit him in the back and went in. I think it came from Bonino and who is that? Benning? Yeah, from Bonino and Benning. And then Logan Couture had one that also deflected off of a defender, actually. And then Kunin's second goal was a one-timer through traffic from Erik Karlsson, maybe? I'm not entirely sure. But I'm really liking what this team's doing. Mike Grier's plan to get a gritty, hardworking team with no quit in them has really, shown through this season. The Sharks aren't really in the playoff picture. They're 14th out of 16 in the West. 17 points. They're 4 points ahead of the Anaheim Ducks, who are in last, in the bottom of the league, actually. Um, I mean, for me as a hockey fan, and I played hockey my whole life. I watch the World Juniors, and I watch younger guys coming up through the junior ranks and the college hockey ranks, and the Sharks are going to have an opportunity to have the first overall pick in the NHL draft this 2023. Um, and there's a kid by the name of Connor Bedard that, if you haven't heard of him yet, you will. He actually yesterday had a hat trick against the Victoria Royals in the WHL. Connor Bedard is the captain for the Regina Pats, and he is born in 2005. He's 5'10" and weighs 185. So he's not the biggest um, player in the world, but he is an elite goal scorer, and he scores goals at all levels. WHL, World Juniors. He was playing up as a 15, 16, 17-year-old on the U20 World Juniors team. He was given exceptional status by Hockey Canada in 2019. And if I'm not mistaken, that might be the first time that that's happened since Connor McDavid back in 2015, 2014 maybe. Um, but yes, he's an elite goal scorer, but not at the with a very different body type from the stereotypical elite goal scorers we have in the NHL right now. He's not an Austin Matthews, Alex Ovechkin, big body, just with a wicked wrister can get a shot off. He is a playmaker. He has insane hands. He's quick. He knows. He has sense for the game. So this guy is a guy that will put a lot of pucks in the back of the net. In my opinion, this is exactly what the Sharks need. Um, we haven't had anyone score over 40 goals in the past 10 years. I think Joe Pavelski had 41 season with 41 goals, 2 seasons with 38, and 1 season with 37, and he's the only one that's had over 37 goals in the last 10 years. The Sharks do have the number one PK in the league, and I know that we've been rotating goalies between Reimer, and today we had Capo Kakinen in that. But defense at this point isn't really the Sharks' concern. We have trouble scoring the puck, and at least I like the plan that Mike Grier has in place right now, where we aren't, outwardly tanking. We're not putting the absolute worst team out there that we can. But personally, I'd like to see more of the young guys out there on the ice. The teams look good. We beat Vegas when they were 13-3, number one team in the league. The Sharks can win games, which I'm fine with seeing. I don't mind it, because at the end of the day, the draft is a lottery, and the worst team in the league doesn't always get the first overall pick. So we will see how this turns out. Yeah, in the short term at least, I like what Mike Grier is doing with his contracts. He signed a lot of one-year deals for the players that we have on the team right now, and just kind of throwing everything at the wall, seeing what sticks. Who's going to be able to be a part of the organization long term. I know we have some guys that are already signed to long-term contracts. Tomas Hertl just signed a big one over the summer. Erik Karlsson, I believe, still has 4 more years on his deal. And actually moving to Erik Karlsson, I think he's been playing at an elite level this season, back to his Norris Trophy days, dare I say. And he's kind of like an outlier on our team right now. He's third on our team in goals after tonight. I believe Timo Meyer and Logan Couture are tied at 12. But I think we might have to trade Erik Karlsson, try and get some draft capital, maybe young guys, if a team is willing to do that. The Sharks owe Karlsson a lot of money, but it is for the next few years. I hate to say, I want it to be similar to like what the Sharks ended up giving up for Erik Karlsson a few years ago, but we've already lost that trade, and he does not have the same value that he had back then. But we will see what ends up happening with Erik Karlsson. All right. Well, that's going to be it for today. Thanks to everyone for watching. And if you like this Bay Area sports content, please like and subscribe. And until next time.